Hi, I'm Mel,
I'm Janelle.
and this is the Murder Mamas. Welcome.
Hello. I feel
It's
like I'm dusting off my
I know.
my skills.
This morning when I was thinking about, I'm like, how do we start our intro?
How does that go
How does that
again?
go again? It's been a while. That's my fault. Mental health.
Okay.
It gets you sometimes.
Sure does.
So we're back for a
For
little bit
like
because then I go on vacation. So
for literally a week, and then I'm on a business trip and you're on vacation.
yeah. So
So
we'll get, back into things after a
summer,
while. Yeah, after
probably.
summer. Once we get into the swing of things again with school.
Yep.
Yeah, it'll be better.
Anywho,
Anywho, so today we're going to be talking about Devil in the Family, The Fall of Ruby Franke. Where did we watch this? On Hulu?
yes.
We watched it on Hulu. Can't remember. We watched it like 2 weeks ago, and now we don't know what we're going to talk about.
Well, I watched it less than 2 weeks ago. I'm ready.
Okay.
I watched it more recent.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
A refresher.
A refresher.
Um,
So they.
hold on, hold
Okay,
on,
okay,
hold on,
okay.
hold on. As a disclaimer, we are discussing the media that was presented to us through this documentary
Yes.
and our own opinions.
Yes.
If things are not factual, that is the media that was presented to us as problem.
That's on Hulu.
Yes. So that is my disclaimer.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
I was gonna say the family, the mom really wanted to start a YouTube channel.
Something I thought was really weird. Ruby is her name.
Ruby, yeah.
Um,
I'm looking at Ruby and
Something I thought was really weird was how much the neighbors talked about like the family and they're watching the videos. I'm like, this is
yeah, it's weird.
you guys are all very involved in each other's
Right.
lives. Like,
Aren't they from Utah? Yeah. They're
I'm like,
Mormons.
I know the names of my immediate next door neighbors.
Yeah.
The people who live across the street from us,
No clue.
none
Yeah.
whatsoever.
Yeah, I know one of my neighbors' names. And then the people right across the street from us, because they brought us cookies when we moved in, I know their names. And they're also the same names as my aunt and uncle, so that's why I know their names.
Yeah, I'm like,
And that's it.
really, really involved in each other's
I think it's the
lives.
Mormon community. Like,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what
Maybe it's
it is.
cultural.
It's cultural. It's their thing. But she videotaped everything. Like, everything that they did and put it on YouTube. And it just, like, grew. I don't understand. Like, I put something on YouTube and get 2 views. She put something on YouTube, and, like, by the 5th video, she had 2 million views or something.
Really?
Yeah. It didn't
Um,
take her that long to get like a ton of views.
yeah. No, I feel like it did.
Did it?
Yeah. Like it didn't take that long, but it was like she was vlogging like everything.
Everything.
But it was at first like I think the first video was a gender reveal,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
For one of her babies, and it was like a family vlog.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just Ruby vlogging, it
Right.
was 8 passengers, right?
Yeah,
That was like
yeah.
the name of it. And so it's Ruby sort of now, like they started and the viewership is going up and she's becoming like obsessed.
Yeah.
Her daughter is in the documentary talking about her mom, and she talks about how like the house had to remain spotless 100% of the time, like, and they show like video of the kids cleaning baseboards.
Yeah.
And like
And the 2 oldest children are only the ones in the documentary. The oldest boy and the oldest girl. The other ones have their face blurred out.
correct,
So,
and we don't
you
learn
don't
the
know.
names of them
No.
for their privacy.
Yeah.
And I never watch, like, I feel like watching a family vlog is really strange.
I do too.
So
I've
I've never
never.
consumed that
No.
on YouTube.
I don't know
so
why
I have
you
no
would.
idea what.
I
their
don't
names
get the
are.
hype of that.
Yeah, very strange
It
to
is.
me. So she talks about that. She talks about how they had to like change all their light bulbs, and slowly over time, like their house became a set
Yeah.
that they lived in.
Yeah.
All the time. Throughout all of this, we're being shown like clips of Ruby where she's like recording the same thing 15 times and like those markers.
Yeah.
Right? I think they were markers. And she's
Yeah.
oh my God.
Yeah.
So she's like recording, you know, like doing all the recordings, or she's trying to record and they're talking and she's like,
And you can't even hear them.
and she just is screaming at them and like so angry.
I'm recording right now.
Yeah. But like not abusive.
No.
Like at this point,
No.
she wasn't abusive.
No. It was just frustration.
Yeah. So that like this whole first episode basically is talking about like the ramp up.
Yeah.
And in it we're hearing from Kevin. That's his name, right?
Kevin is the husband.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're hearing from Kevin, we're hearing from Chad, which is the oldest son, and we're hearing from Sherry, which is the daughter.
Yes.
And we're seeing like clips of the videos and things like that. But you're also seeing like behind the scenes clips that are much like darker, but not bad.
Right.
Not like horrible yet. But the kids are like going on vacations and like taking road trips, and they're not being like as grateful as Ruby felt like they should be.
Right.
So she's like, act like you're happy.
Because they're small kids. Like this, they have the younger four, and they're younger. So
They're,
like they don't know how to
Yeah.
act in front of a camera or like be happy in front of a camera. Like that's not their thing yet.
Yeah. And then it talks a little bit too about how like people are, as the viewership is increasing, like people are commenting on it like, I want to marry your son. Chad's so handsome. And he's like
A teenager.
preteen teen,
Yeah.
like young teen.
Not okay.
And Ruby continues to highlight Chad.
Right. Yeah.
Because Chad's getting a lot of views.
That's gross.
And Chad is even talking about it. He's like, it was weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it was weird. It was absolutely weird. And the reason that it was me was because, like, that was the demographic of the kids watching this vlog.
Exactly. Because the girls, that's the age group that people watch that. Like, that's, like, Avery watches, not people, but, like, girls talking about video games or something. Like, that's what she watches on YouTube.
God, I banned YouTube from my house. It was the
Did
best
you?
thing I ever did.
I don't know. All I hear
Almost
is
a
like,
year.
oh,
Yeah.
she doesn't like even play the games that they talk about. So I don't know what she finds interesting about it.
Yeah. So then we learn that they start making money off of the video.
Yeah.
And so like there's one clip of like show them all the like the stack of money, and like all the kids got a cut.
Yeah.
Quote unquote. Mm-hmm. But it's like starts out it's like 5,000, 8,000, up to $100,000 a month they were making in like revenue.
Which is insane.
That is crazy.
I'm like, do I need to start doing this?
You're not.
It'd be Preston in his room the whole time. Avery attached at the hip. Can we play Life for the 5th time today?
Oh my God. She's discovered it as well.
Oh yeah. We've played it's downstairs on our kitchen table.
Yes. Yeah, same.
I'm like, I
Played
don't
it so many times.
don't want to play. Like, pick a different game.
I know we are in a life phase as well.
Yeah.
It's really interesting you say that.
That's weird.
Yeah, like you can't even get Preston out of the house to go to the water park. Like somewhere fun.
One time.
Once. Anyways, so basically what's happening, like there's 2 events happening at the same time. So like they're making more money. Ruby's ramping this up, and she's like filming every single second of their day.
Yeah.
And as that's happening, like Chad specifically. So Chad is like the main focus because again, people are interested in him because he's like conventionally attractive. He's has like confidence. He's funny. He's all of those traits. But as Ruby wants to film more, like Chad wants to do it less.
Right.
So they start butting heads a lot.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of what episode 2 is about.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to like also summarize more of episode 1, and it's basically just like.
Well, I think we meet some of the neighbors. Talk about that.
I'm sorry about the neighbors.
I have their names though.
We meet the neighbors.
Jared and Sydney. I don't know who said what. I just have their names.
Okay, yeah. Scrap that. We're not. No. So they do move houses though. So like.
Yeah, they get a nice house.
They go from like a very normal suburban house.
Yeah, like it was fine.
It's all in the same sort of like neighborhood though. And what they say about this neighborhood is like no one ever really like leaves. You just move to a different part of the neighborhood.
Right.
Because it's a very nice neighborhood.
Yeah.
In Utah.
Lots of families.
Correct. So they go from like a very normal, like
nice house.
Regular, like nice house,
Yeah.
to a like McMansion.
Yeah.
In the same development where it's like really, really nice.
Really nice, yeah.
And that's kind of like how it ends, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And so then episode 2 starts, and most of episode 2 is talking about like the conflict between Chad and Ruby.
Yeah. Yeah, they butt heads a lot. And we meet the therapist too.
Okay. At the end, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, Chad and Ruby are constantly butting heads. YouTube is still doing what they need it to do. Like, it's still giving them so much money. And this is, like, 2015-ish, probably, I think. Yeah. No, it could not have been 10 years ago. I'm trying to remember.
I don't remember. I don't have the date down. But it was a while ago.
I think it was in 2020 was when she, like, said that stuff.
Okay.
Because this is where we learned that, too.
Yeah.
So basically, like what Sherry and Chad say during this period with Ruby is that like the nice mom they had is gone. She is a woman possessed. Like, and the neighbors mentioned that she doesn't talk to them at all. But she'll, like, walk the neighborhood, and she's constantly filming herself as she's, like, walking the neighborhood. And a lot of the neighbors had issues with that because...
They want their privacy.
They want their privacy, but she's also, like, millions of people are watching her all the time. It's really easy to find where places are, you know?
Yeah.
So they had one lady had serious issues about it. But, like, they were also kind of, like... She's just not friendly. Like, she was not a friendly, like, kind, caring person. Yeah. We're learning a lot about, like, the conflict with her and Chad. Yeah. So Chad is, like, done wanting to film anything. Yeah. And he mentions that he would, like, say the wrong lines or just become completely uncooperative. And they mention how, like, all the kids kind of went from being, like, happy kids to basically like completely losing their spark. Yeah. Which is sad. Very, very sad. Yeah. Especially for the younger ones. Yeah. Like
they're too young to lose that spark.
Yeah, like how do you make them that miserable?
I know. I don't know.
It's wild. So
but she took away all Chad's stuff at one point.
Yeah, so Chad got, like, expelled from school, or I think this might have been before Chad got expelled from school. Anyways, Chad is, like, acting out a ton. Yeah. He's fighting, he's, like, doing all these things. He's just so angry. Yeah. At his home life.
And I get it.
And, like, the lack of privacy he had. Yeah. And Ruby is, like, punishing him specifically in these very strange ways. Like, he's forced to sleep on a beanbag chair.
In the basement.
In the basement for 7 months.
7 months. That's a long time.
Yeah. And it's just like she's still making him like film things and
Yeah.
like forcing him to do this stuff even though he said no. And this is where I have a really big issue with the dad. Because I feel like as a parent, your responsibility above, this is my opinion,
No.
just me, your responsibility above, like your relationship with your partner is also important. But while your children are young, they're the priority.
Yeah.
So like what I mean by that is like I don't mean like I put my relationship on the back burner for my kids.
Right.
That's not what I mean. But what I mean is like the way that I navigate the world and I navigate my relationship with my husband is very dependent on how that will affect my children.
Yeah.
And so when I see my husband treating my kids in a way that I think maybe is not aligned with like our parenting style, that deserves a call out. Like, hey, you need to pump the brakes real quick. And the expectation I have of him is for him to do the same thing to me.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this isn't how we wanted like raise them. So let's slow down, like go take a breather and then come back.
Yeah.
You know? And that's where I struggle a lot because I feel like as a parent, Kevin's responsibility is to step in and be like, listen, Chad set a fucking boundary with you, Ruby.
Yeah.
Stop putting him on the fucking channel.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I'm like, he didn't care about his son's well-being.
No.
Because they're making they're making $1.2 million a year off of his negative childhood.
Yeah.
And experience. And that's fucked.
Yeah. And Kevin, it's just he's
dickless.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's very vulgar.
He
but
has
like,
no backbone. He just doesn't have an opinion about anything. I don't know. He just like lets everything happen. And it's so weird to me.
I feel like the way he behaves in the next episode.
Yeah.
I hated him episode 2. I'm like, dude, you're a piece of trash.
Yeah.
And then we got to episode 3 and I'm like, oh, you're a super piece of trash. Like, get fucked, bro.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Out loud to my phone screen to my phone screen as I was watching it.
Yeah.
So Chad, at some point, Chad gets kicked out from school. And
he goes to a wilderness camp.
Yeah, they're sending him to a wilderness camp. Like, he has behavioral issues.
Yeah.
Which stems from all of her behavior, you know? And they're like making a video. Chad and Ruby are making a video. And she's like joking about how he's like earned back his bed.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, we've never taken anything away and given it back in less than 6 months.
Which is insane.
That's wild.
Auntie takes away the kid's phone and I give it right back to him in like 30 minutes because I feel bad.
Okay, well.
7 months.
You've swung really far in the opposite direction. But yeah, so she's like joking though.
Yeah.
And so Chad is like, oh yeah, and like the one time you took my door off the hinges and like this and this and this. And she publishes this video and the rest of the world is like, what?
What the fuck? Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Who is this mom?
And so it went from like this very fruitful endeavor that was giving them money and fulfillment, or giving Ruby.
Yeah.
I use that a little loosely, but it's giving Ruby money, fulfillment, like all of this stuff she's craved for so long. And it turns into like she's canceled.
Yeah.
And there's just like the backlash and the hatred and the comments on the videos about how everyone feels bad for the kids. And so
what did she think was going to happen by publishing that? Like, did she not think about that? That's not
she's
something.
like kind of a psychopath, right?
Yeah,
like,
it's starting to
and
show.
Also, her and Kevin are also kind of psychopaths, because I'm forgetting if it was in the first episode or the second episode. But do you remember he's talking about like how they met and how she like had that like bar chart or like
Yes.
spreadsheet or something of
Yes.
like the man she wanted, and he like studied it to become that man.
Yeah. He looked at all her pros and cons and memorized all the pros and went to be in front of her with all those pros so that she would fall in love with him. Wow.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Like,
Yeah.
that's crazy. And oh, we completely glossed over like them meeting, right?
Yeah.
So they like meet, they start date. What, I guess that's like normal for Mormons, right?
Yeah.
They meet, they start dating, and they're married, like all within 4 months.
Yeah. Yeah, I was watching something, not on this episode, but another one talking about Mormons. And they're like, if you're not married by the time you're 21, you're considered like too old to be married. Or like that's old to get married if you're not married by 21 and having kids. And it's like, that's a baby. Like most of them get married at 19 and 20, like before they can even drink. Well, they don't drink, so I guess it doesn't matter, but like, that's insane. That's way too early.
So I don't know a ton about the Mormon, but I think it has to do with like being able to. I think a lot of them don't even like kiss before marriage.
Yeah, probably not. No.
And I think
There's no.
I think it has to do with like being able to be intimate.
Yeah. Yeah. And produce as many babies as you can.
You know what? I've known a lot of Mormons.
Yeah.
Not a lot, but you know, something like growing up.
Yeah.
That I knew a fair few. They were always very nice.
Oh, yeah.
Like everyone I've met's always been
Oh, I'm sure they're very nice.
super nice.
Yeah. But it's just they have, you know.
Have you heard about Mormon face?
No.
Google it
Okay.
later.
Okay.
Anyways, so I completely lost my
They
train of
meet,
thought.
they get married.
Like, they meet, they get married, but it's sort of just like backstory on them
Yeah.
and like how they meet, which again, I think is really weird. Like, I think it's kind of weird to have such a strict set of like requirements for
Right.
someone, and then also like to study it behind their back and like
Become
that is also like, whoa.
Yeah, that's weird.
Whoa. Okay, so back to Chad. So Chad and her have like this whole thing. That video gets published. People start canceling her. And so then she's like trying to find... I don't remember exactly, but there's like, they're trying to find like a therapist for Chad.
Yeah.
And that's when we get introduced to Lori Hildebrandt.
Yeah.
And she is the therapist that like, well, air quotes?
Air quotes?
Should I air quote therapist?
Yeah.
That like was recommended by someone to them. And so Chad talks about the first appointment with Lori. So it's a telehealth appointment. And it's happening in his parents' room, and he is there. He's like a teen at this point, like 17 or something.
Yeah.
And so he's sitting in between his mom and his dad.
I have Jody down for the therapist.
Is it Jody?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I have written down.
That could be it.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought Lori.
No, it's Jody.
Jody.
Okay.
My bad.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
Therapist.
Therapist.
What was I saying? Oh, so Chad is like sitting in between his mom and his dad, and now I want to call her Lori still.
Jody.
She looks like a Lori to me. So Jody is like, basically like asks him one question, and he's like, and he says, I was just going to lie about everything.
Right.
Like, just to get it over with, you know? Which I think is like a very teen way to deal with like forced therapy.
Oh, yeah.
And she immediately like calls him out. And she's like, you're lying, Chad.
Yeah.
Like, I know it.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like someone called me out on my bullshit, you know?
Yeah.
And so then he like starts listening to her, and then we like learn more about him having like these therapy sessions.
Yeah. And he joins a men's group too.
Kevin joins the men's group.
Oh, yeah, Kevin.
And basically, like, what happens is Ruby quits YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, stops her channel and is, like, completely joined this, like, cult.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It felt like a cult.
It felt like
seemed
a
like a
cult.
cult.
Yeah.
Other people said it was a cult.
Yeah.
But she like stops YouTube and joins that
Yeah.
instead with Jody.
With Jody.
And Jody's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
and they make their own YouTube.
correct.
Yeah.
And so what they thought was that Jody was attracted to Ruby's internet presence.
Yeah.
And her ability to like monetize this sort of stuff.
Right.
And the like audience that she could reach. Which was very beneficial for her.
Sure.
So they like make an internet or they like make a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Kevin joins that men's group where Jody's just like talking about porn addiction a lot.
Yeah.
And like basically like he says, this part I was like, dude, you're so dickless, man. And he's like, yeah, Jody was telling me that I was like, she was using me as the example for the other men to look to. And it just felt so good.
Yeah.
So it made me want to keep talking to her and keep going.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Ew.
ew.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of what else happens with Jody. Like, it's just, now we're just learning a bunch about everything that wait, you have a note there, Moms of Truth, and I don't remember that.
Oh, that's what they called their YouTube.
Oh, is that the name of the channel? Oh, yeah.
Oh, so I have Jody and Ruby start their own YouTube channel. Ruby came clean and started apologizing to her kids and to her listeners, probably to gain back the people so that they would pay attention to their new channel.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was in 2020. Yeah, I have that here. They thought in 2020 the world was like ending.
Yeah, so Ruby sort of like jumps headfirst into this like weird conspiracy land.
Yeah.
With, and she's like holding Jody's hand as she's jumping.
Yeah, they get really close.
And she's also like dragging Kevin down with her. So there's like a bunch of conspiracy stuff about the world ending, and like Jody is a huge prepper.
Yeah.
Who lives in like this crazy mansion all by herself because
Yeah.
she's divorced and her kids don't talk to her, which I'm like, red flag.
Right. You're a therapist and your kids don't talk to you. Or quote therapist.
Anytime someone has adult children that don't speak to them, I'm like, what did you do?
Yeah.
What did you do?
But Jody said she was seeing black figures around her bed.
Yeah, so like Jody and Ruby become extremely close.
Yeah, they even make a point. Someone said, like, we don't know what they were doing.
Her daughter.
Yeah, her daughter, because she moved in.
Well,
we're not later. There yet. Okay, yeah.
They're like very, very, very close.
Yeah.
And so, like, in a way that and again, keep in mind, she is still providing therapy to Chad.
Yeah.
And Ruby. And Kevin's part of this men's group. So, like, this is a therapist.
Yeah.
Like, there are very clear boundaries.
Oh, well, not.
There should be.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and ethics and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And so then Jody calls Ruby and is like freaking out and talking about how she's possessed and like there's all these black figures around her and like all this stuff. So they drive out to her house in St. George, I think, is where it was. And again, she like lives in a mansion.
Yeah.
All by herself.
Yeah. It was a nice house.
Yeah. And it was a really nice house. And they're like, she's acting like...
She was acting weird.
She's acting.
Acting, yeah.
Like, heavy emphasis on acting.
Acting, yeah.
Very, like, Hollywood-like possessed.
Yeah.
And, like, It was so strange. So anyway, someone's like, you know what? Like, let's bring her back to our house.
Yeah. Ruby suggested she
Oh
comes
yeah,
to
Ruby.
live with
Yeah.
them.
While they're like undemoning
Yeah.
her house or something.
Yeah.
Or her. I don't really know. So then they get to her house and Sherry's about to leave for college. And so they're like, no, Sherry, just like move your shit out.
Yeah.
And she'll move into your room. Since you're leaving anyways,
Yeah.
it's fine, right?
Yeah. This is like a couple weeks before she leaves, I think. So it's like she has to get all of her stuff out for this new woman to move into her room. Like, what?
Yeah. The fact that nobody says no.
Yeah. The husband Kevin doesn't say anything. Like, maybe let's not do that to our daughter until she actually moves out. Giving me a look.
Yeah. Kevin would never.
No.
So
weird.
Sherry moves into their house and it's weird.
Yeah.
And I think they talk about like the Christmas with Sherry. Chad talks about like the Christmas with Sherry there. And how, again, he's like still getting weekly therapy.
Mm-hmm. Very.
Still getting like weekly therapy from her.
Yeah.
And he talks about like her being there for Christmas and how close Ruby and her were. And like, am I making this up? But like, did someone say that they like slept in the same bed?
Yeah, they moved into the same bed.
That's right.
And the daughter was like, I don't know what's going on in there, if it was like more than just friendship.
Yeah.
But the door was shut, so nobody knew what was actually happening. If they were like sleeping or doing other things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's weird. And then it's like,
Do you remember, I can't remember if it was earlier in this episode or the last one, like after they meet Jody, where Kevin talks about how like Ruby had changed a little bit and like he had been going to the men's group.
Sorry, it's late.
He had been going to the men's group and like their relationship was better than ever and they were like having sex again and like all that stuff. And I'm like,
yeah.
You know.
Yep.
So anyways, Ruby and her get super, super close. And then like Sherry goes to college and they make the decision together.
Yeah.
Do they kick Chad out first?
They do kick out
Kevin.
I think Chad.
Is it Chad?
I don't remember.
I thought it was Kevin.
Maybe Kevin. Oh, maybe it was Kevin first.
I can't remember which one they kicked out first, but they basically create this plan to like kick out both of the men in the house.
Yeah.
So Ruby's like, Kevin comes home and Ruby's like, I want a separation.
Right.
And he's like, what? And stone face, like,
yeah.
I want a separation.
Like, what gave you that first clue? That they were sleeping together in the same bed, or what?
Okay. Could you imagine if I moved into your house and started sleeping in your bed with you?
No. He would be like, excuse me, get the fuck out of my house.
Oh, no, you can go sleep upstairs, Monty.
Yeah.
It's okay. Like, that's
weird.
But then I was also providing therapy to Preston.
Right.
On a weekly basis.
Which is also weird because therapists don't individually give therapy to the same family. Like, you have to get a different therapist or usually that's the way it goes.
Yeah, but also, like, the neighbors were part of this therapy, too. And, like, everybody. Remember?
Yeah.
I'm like, who are you people?
I know, it's weird.
It is all very intertwined. Anywho's, so they kick Kevin out, and basically she's like, you know what? I just don't want to be with you anymore. Don't talk to me and don't talk to any of the kids.
Yeah. And he complies with that.
And he goes, okay.
Yeah.
No problem.
And does it.
And also during this time, like Ruby has become fully abusive to her children again.
Yeah.
Like she is verbally abusive. She is like doling out these crazy punishments. Like the
Yeah.
5-year-old forgets her lunchbox.
Yeah.
And so then she just doesn't eat lunch.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's
Horrible.
horrific.
Yeah.
So she's anyways like being kind of abusive to them.
Yeah.
Actually, not kind of. She is being abusive to her children. Not Chad anymore, but like the younger ones.
The younger ones.
So then it's like almost at the exact same time they kick Chad out as like a 17-year-old.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, it's time for you to leave.
Yeah.
Give us your phone.
We're not paying for anything.
We're not paying for anything anymore. And he's like, what?
Yeah.
Like, where do I go?
Right. Yeah.
Like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
But it really was to get the people who could have helped away from the house.
Yeah.
So then she also completely cuts Sherry out of her life too. And she basically tells Sherry, like, you shouldn't have been talking to your dad.
Yeah.
And she's like, what? Like,
Yeah.
why not?
Yeah.
You know, like it's this very weird sort of controlling environment. And then Chad spends a lot of time talking about how he like wouldn't lie to his mom anymore and would like tell her when he would make out with girls. And
Yeah. That was weird.
all right, man, you swung too far in the other direction, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they get kicked out in, is it 2021 or 2022?
It's 2021 because in December of 21, the two youngest didn't get the Christmas presents
That's right.
because they were bad. So they had to watch all the other kids open up
I feel
Christmas
like my
presents.
brain blocked that out because it was so terrible.
Yeah.
And the saddest part was the neighbor talking about how her daughter was so excited to give one of the younger kids a present.
Yeah.
And like the next time this little neighbor girl saw one of the daughters, she was like, how'd you like the present? And she said, I didn't get to open it. My mom threw it away.
Yeah.
And Ruby says they were too ungrateful to get Christmas presents.
So horrible.
It's awful.
Yeah. And
So
she also took them out of school so that they would clean the house. The little kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like just started homeschooling them.
Yeah. But
That
just
was in
making
air
them,
quotes.
making them clean.
So once Chad and Kevin are out of the house, Ruby and Jody have like full reign to treat these very young, vulnerable children any way they want. Oh, and Sherry's gone too, right? So like Sherry's not allowed over.
No.
Sherry is told she needs to find her own like car insurance and phone plan and everything.
Yeah.
And she just does. Like they all just do.
Yeah.
The only one who did anything to help them was Sherry.
Yeah.
And Sherry feels really weird and she like reaches out to the neighbors because Ruby and Jody, how can I get her name right? Ruby and Jody keep leaving for like extended periods of time.
Yeah, they say they wouldn't see Ruby's car and the kids would be in the house.
Yeah, like peeking out the window and all kinds of stuff. So Sherry calls the police and she's like, I'd like to do a welfare check. Like my younger siblings are, I'm away at college, but my younger siblings are home alone.
Yeah.
And the neighbors haven't seen my mom's car in a while.
Yeah.
Like, can you go check on them? And so they go check and all the neighbors, you know, all these neighbors rally around and are telling the police like, yeah, weird shit's happening over there. But the police ask,
Have you seen
any signs of abuse?
Yeah.
Like physical abuse.
Yeah.
And they all say no.
Yeah.
And one of the neighbors says, I regret that to this day.
Yeah.
Because it let things escalate so much more.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm doing all the talking.
No. You are. I don't know. The next thing I have is they go back to Jody's house And Ruby's youngest son gets out and goes to a neighbor
Yeah.
and knocks on their door. And the neighbor, through like the Ring camera, was like, "What do you need?" And the boy was saying, he's like being abused and
He's asking for food.
asking for food.
He says, like, I'm 12
Yeah.
and my mom's friend lives next door.
Yeah.
And
And the guy looks at him and was like, he's emancipated. Like, he looked emaciated, emaciated.
there's like duct tape around his ankles.
Yeah, you can tell that he's been like chained up or held against his will. And
there's like bruises
all over his body.
Yeah.
And so the cops come.
Oh my God. The footage you get to see of him calling the police.
Yeah.
This grown man is crying.
Yeah.
Like legit sobbing.
Yeah.
And the little boy's just sitting there.
Yeah. Has no reaction.
None whatsoever.
None. Yeah.
So the police... Go ahead.
No, I don't know. That's all I have.
So the police come out and they're questioning him. Like, what happened? Like, what's going on? He's extremely emaciated.
Yeah.
And basically what he says, like, I have a younger sister who, I haven't seen her in about a month, but last night saw she was in the house.
Yeah.
But we're like kept separate.
Yeah.
And it's weird because it's just these two youngest.
Yeah.
Like the middle two.
Where are the middle two?
They're, I believe.
Back at the house?
I don't remember. I think so.
Yeah.
Like continuing to go to school and like not being abused.
Yeah.
But like the younger two.
Just the younger two.
Ruby is convinced that what was she convinced of? That they were like possessed or something.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
And so the police enter the house, or they're like talking about needing search warrants and things like that. Anyways, they gain access to the house. They pull Jody out and they search and they find the younger daughter.
Yeah.
And she's in the same kind of condition as the boy.
The boy, yeah.
And so they take them to the hospital or the police station. I'm pretty sure it's the hospital. And they call Kevin and they're like, hey, we have your kids here.
Yeah.
Like, we need to talk to you.
Yeah.
And they're very perplexed. The female police officer was so pretty, by the way.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, you're gorgeous. So they're like, you just walked out of their life a year ago and like never tried to see them again?
Yeah, which is totally weird.
That is insane behavior.
Yeah.
Insane. And Kevin finally is like, well, that's when I realized, like, maybe Ruby was wrong.
Maybe. And Ruby calls her husband for the first time in over a year. And she shared with him that the kids were possessed. So the younger kids are possessed.
Yes.
Yeah. And then when we get to the end.
Yeah, like that's pretty much where it ends.
Yeah. She gets charged with, what does she get charged with? Neglect and abuse or something. But she ends up getting 30 years in prison. So it had to be some hefty charges there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jody get charged too?
I think so.
Let me check. 6 counts. They were arrested and charged with 6 counts of felony aggravated child abuse of 2 of Frankie's children. She pleaded guilty to 4 counts and on February 20th, 2024 was sentenced to serve between 4 and 30 years in prison.
Oh, so she'll not serve 30. She'll get out sooner than that. If she's compliant.
I wonder, what did Jody get? That's weird. Jody got 4 to 60 years.
Really?
Yeah. But then it says 30-year maximum under Utah statute.
Okay.
Oh, and we totally left out the part that, like, Jody was a total fraud.
Yeah.
So she, like, had this huge platform and all these things, but, like, she had been, like, had her license revoked and had lawsuits against her. Like,
yeah, that's why we kept saying air quotes.
Yeah,
therapist.
yeah. She was like, I just, like, glossed over that. But she was, like, a total scammer. But yeah, like, that's kind of it. And I'm gonna be honest, I didn't particularly like this one.
No.
Not because it was, like, the children or anything, but because I felt like the whole time it was, like, the husband was making excuses for the abuse of his children for multiple years, right? Like, she didn't start out as this.
No.
Like, this was, like, a ramp up over years. And again, like I said earlier, like, I think that your responsibility to your kids is to protect them.
Yeah.
And he failed them.
Yes.
And I hope none of them talk to him.
Yeah.
That's my hope.
Yeah.
Because he does not deserve them.
No.
He deserves to be in jail too.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, how could you not just, like, I genuinely cannot think of an instance if I were like, Chris, we're getting separated. I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Yeah.
And he would just be like, okay.
Yeah.
I won't see the kids anymore.
Right.
Like, there's not a world where that exists.
No. Not at all. Be like, okay, well, I'm going to sue you for custody.
Yeah. Like yeah.
That's what I would do.
It's just wild. Like, it's wild to me. And I again, like, I really think that Kevin failed his kids.
He did.
For money.
Yeah.
That's my take on it.
Yeah.
And Kevin, if you're listening, you're dickless. That's it.
That's it. That's all we got. Bye.